Hello friends, today I'll show you how to make this pumpkin caramel macaron cake. This macaron cake is made of big macaron shells flavored with pumpkin spice, filled with pumpkin caramel buttercream and pumpkin caramel sauce. Making macaron cakes is super fun and they're delicious. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every week. We're going to start by sifting together the almond flour and the powdered sugar. When you're making macarons, it's very important to leave everything set aside and ready before you start. And we're also going to add a touch of pumpkin spice to the shells and whisk that in with the almond flour and the powdered sugar. Place a bowl over a pan with barely simmering water. Add the sugar, egg white powder if using. It's totally optional, but I love the way it makes my shells full and beautiful. Then add the egg whites and whisk until the mixture is frothy and the sugar is completely melted. It may take a couple of minutes. You can test by touching the mixture between your fingers, and if you feel any sugar granules, just keep whisking over the water bath. But make sure not to heat it up too much, because this may cause issues down the line such as wrinkly macarons. Transfer the syrup to the bowl of a stand mixer. With the whisk attachment, start whisking the mixture on low for about 30 seconds and then gradually increase the speed to medium and then to medium-high, where you will finish whipping the meringue until it achieves stiff peaks. Once the whites get glossy and you start seeing streaks formed by the whisk on the meringue, it might be time to stop. You're going to have to whisk until stiff peaks have formed. When you pull the whip up, the peak should be stiff and shooting straight up, not bending down to the side. Now we're going to pour the sifted powdered sugar, almond flour, and pumpkin spice into the stiff meringue. And we're going to start folding with a spatula to incorporate the batter. This is called the Macaronage. Also at this point, add any food coloring if using. I added orange powder food coloring by Sugar Art. Now continue to fold the batter until it achieves the perfect consistency. It's time to stop folding when the batter is glossy, has a thick and flowing consistency. To test it out, pick up some batter with a spatula and try to draw several figure eights without the batter breaking up. And then, even after the batter breaks up, it still continues to flow slowly off the spatula. When this happens, transfer the batter to a piping bag. My circle templates measured 4.5 inches in diameter. Place the piping bag directly 90 degrees over the center of a circle template. Apply gentle pressure and carefully pipe while keeping the bag in the vertical position. I piped each macaron about 3.5 inches because they spread out considerably after piping. And then after I banged the trays against the counter, they reached the 4.5-inch diameter. Once you've piped the circles, bang the trays against the counter to release any air bubbles, and also use a toothpick to pop any remaining air bubbles on the surface of the shells. Let the tray sit to dry. I had to leave mine for quite a bit of time since the shells are so big they take longer to dry than the regular smaller macarons. I had to leave this drying for about an hour. Time resting and drying are going to depend on how humid the day is, on the consistency of the batter, and other factors such as the food coloring that you added. You will know the macarons are ready to be baked when you gently touch the surface of a macaron and it seems dry and doesn't stick to your finger. I bake my macarons at a 325 Fahrenheit oven. Bake for 10 minutes, rotate the tray, and then continue to bake for another 15 to 20 minutes. When baked, the macarons are going to have a deep color and formed feet. If you try to move a macaron, it shouldn't feel jiggly. If the macaron is still jiggly, keep baking. Now let's make the pumpkin caramel sauce. Add sugar to a saucepan with a heavy bottom. Begin to stir over medium heat non-stop to make sure that the sugar melts evenly. If you stop stirring, the sugar will begin to burn on certain spots. It's very important to not stop stirring the sugar. As you can see, some of the sugar has already melted and some of the sugar is still crystallized. So continue to stir so all the sugar melts. As soon as the last bit of sugar melts, the whole syrup should be darkened in color. At this point, add the heavy cream. Be very careful because it will bubble up. Then right after, add the butter and continue to stir. Once the butter has almost melted entirely, add the pumpkin puree, pumpkin spice, and salt. If you don't like pumpkin spice, you can leave that out. And if you don't want salted caramel, you can also leave the salt out. Then remove it from the heat and continue to stir until smooth. Pour it in a bowl and let it cool down all the way before using. Now I will show you how to make the pumpkin caramel buttercream. Only make this once the caramel sauce has cooled down all the way. Begin by creaming the butter and the cream cheese with a mixer at medium-high speed until fluffy. Add the pumpkin caramel, more pumpkin puree, and mix to incorporate. Make sure that the pumpkin caramel is not cold from the fridge and not warm so it doesn't melt the butter. It needs to be exactly at room temperature. Then add the powdered sugar and cream until thick and fluffy. I didn't add any more pumpkin spice here, but you can add some if you want to. Also, if the buttercream is too soft, add more powdered sugar to make it thicker. The caramel and the pumpkin puree might make this a softer frosting, and you can adjust that by adding more powdered sugar to it, which will help the buttercream be firmer. To assemble the macaron cake, place one macaron shell on top of a cake stand or a plate. Pipe some frosting around the edges of a macaron shell. Then spoon some of the room temperature caramel sauce in the middle. Top with another shell and repeat the process. If desired, pipe some frosting on top to decorate, and I also used some pumpkin candy corns to decorate my macaron cake. I hope you liked today's video. If you like the full recipe, it'll be on my blog. I'll put the link down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Bye!